What's up, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube? It's your boy Trey Larkins with Wise Guys Sports. Everybody follow Wise Guys on Twitter at Wise Guys _H. Also on Facebook, Wise Guys. And be sure to follow Wise Guys on Instagram at These Guys Know Sports. Want to come on here and talk about Shedeur Sanders' performance in his first career start for the Cleveland Browns as the Cleveland Browns beat the Las Vegas Raiders 24-10 yesterday in Week 12 in Las Vegas. For the game, Shedeur Sanders, he went 11 for 20. He threw for 209 passing yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. So, it was announced earlier today. Kevin Stefanski came out and said that Shedeur Sanders will start for the Browns in their Week 13 matchup against the San Francisco 49ers in Cleveland. So, when it comes to Shedeur Sanders' performance yesterday against the Las Vegas Raiders, Shedeur, from a statistical standpoint and stat standpoint, he was not outstanding. He didn't have great numbers yesterday against the Las Vegas Raiders. Statistically, his numbers were mediocre. But my eyes showed me that Shedeur Sanders is a player who, with development under the right head coach, can be a starting quarterback in the NFL. And Shedeur Sanders, he had command of the Browns offense. And I thought he did a tremendous job showing off his athleticism. That 50-yard pass that he threw to Isaiah Bond, that was a tremendous pass that he almost scored on that particular play. That was a great play from Shedeur Sanders. He rolled out to his right. He found Bond deep. And I thought he showed off his great arm strength and also great athleticism, being able to get the ball to Isaiah Bond. And Bond nearly scored on that particular play. I thought on the play where he threw the ball to Jerry Jeudy, he rolled out to his right on that play, got the ball to Jerry Jeudy. I don't know what the hell Jeudy was doing. He was in the open field and trying to make a move and set up a defender, and he ended up getting the ball stripped. It was a fumble, went back the other way for the Raiders. But on those particular 2 plays, the deep throw to Isaiah Bond and the throw to Jerry Jeudy, I thought that was Shedeur Sanders at his best. And I thought he showed off his athleticism, which he doesn't really get enough credit for. He doesn't get enough credit for his athleticism and his mobility. I think Shedeur has good mobility, not great mobility like a Lamar Jackson or a Josh Allen, but he has good mobility. He has better mobility than a Jared Goff or a Tom Brady had when he played. So I thought yesterday against the Raiders, there were times where Shedeur Sanders showed off his mobility and used his athleticism to make plays and extend plays within this Browns offense that created big play opportunities for the skill position players like Isaiah Bond, like Jerry Jeudy within this Browns offense. And to me, Shedeur Sanders made plays yesterday against the Raiders that went beyond the X's and O's. And to me, the Browns, they obviously drafted Dylan Gabriel ahead of Shedeur Sanders. And Shedeur, this being his rookie season, he had to wait on the Cleveland Browns to finally bench Joe Flacco. They benched Joe Flacco and they brought in Dylan Gabriel. And I've said since the draft, I said once the season began, and I said it once Kevin Stefanski decided to bench Joe Flacco and bring in Dylan Gabriel. I said then, and I'm going to say it now, Shedeur Sanders is a better quarterback than Dylan Gabriel. Dylan Gabriel is good as far as the mental aspect of the game. I believe Dylan Gabriel is one of those players who has to have the right system around him to be successful. But Dylan Gabriel does not have the ability to go beyond the X's and O's the way that Shedeur Sanders has. That's not who Dylan Gabriel is. Shedeur Sanders has always been better than Dylan Gabriel, and Shedeur Sanders should have been drafted ahead of Dylan Gabriel. Okay? I don't give a damn if Dylan Gabriel comes back from his concussion and is healthy enough to play. Shedeur Sanders earned himself an opportunity to remain the starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns for the rest of the season. He is better than Dylan Gabriel. If Dylan Gabriel's first read or second read is not there, then Dylan Gabriel will not be effective as an NFL quarterback. But Shedeur Sanders showed us in one game that he can go above the X's and O's. Shedeur Sanders completed 11 passes for the game. 3 of those 11 passes were for 30 yards or more. The other Browns quarterbacks, Dylan Gabriel and Joe Flacco, they only had one pass 30 yards or more prior to Shedeur's first start yesterday against the Raiders. Let me say it again for the folks in the back who doubt Shedeur Sanders so much and have so much to say about Shedeur Sanders and his performance as a quarterback. Shedeur completed 3 passes yesterday for 30 yards or more. The Browns have only completed 1 pass this season prior to yesterday for 30 yards or more. So this Browns offense in 1 week is more explosive with Shedeur Sanders than it was with Joe Flacco and Dylan Gabriel. And not only was the Browns offense more explosive with Sanders, the entire football team fed off of Shedeur Sanders' energy. Did y'all see Myles Garrett's reaction when Shedeur threw that 50-yard pass to Isaiah Bond? Did y'all see Myles Garrett's reaction and how excited he was? Like, damn, I ain't used to this. You got to think Myles Garrett is one of the best players in the NFL. He's the best defensive player in the NFL. And Myles Garrett has gotten used to mediocre quarterback play being on the Cleveland Browns. So Myles Garrett, seeing what Shedeur Sanders did yesterday to Myles Garrett, he's thinking, well, we haven't had that type of production at the quarterback position. We have not had that type of excitement at the quarterback position. And the thing is with Shedeur Sanders, there were 17 prior quarterbacks who started games for the Cleveland Browns. None of those 17 quarterbacks in their first career starts for the Cleveland Browns won those games. Shedeur Sanders is the first quarterback since like 1999 to win his first start for the Cleveland Browns. So the thing is, not only were the Browns' offense more explosive under Shedeur Sanders than it was with Joe Flacco and Dylan Gabriel, the football team itself also is feeding off of his energy. I saw a Browns team yesterday, albeit against the Raiders. They played with more energy. They had kind of like a certain charisma about them as a football team that I did not see in the 10 games prior to yesterday. I'm sitting there watching the game and I'm thinking, damn, that's why the Browns defense was able to get 10 sacks. Y'all think it was just a coincidence that the Browns defense got 10 sacks? No, the Browns defense, they are an elite defense. But they were motivated yesterday. They were motivated because they finally had somebody at the quarterback position that could actually lead them to winning football games and being able to make plays in the passing game and go above the X's and O's. That's why the Browns defense had 10 sacks yesterday. They were motivated. Damn it, when you play defense and your offense struggles to score points and your quarterbacks that you play with are incapable of being able to make big explosive plays, at some point as a defense, you get tired and be like, what the hell with it? Because we ain't going to be able to win games anyway because we can't score enough points. And yesterday, Myles Garrett and that Browns defense, Denzel Ward, Myles Garrett, Grant Delpit, they played motivated. And Shedeur Sanders, to me, brought in certain energy and charisma to that Browns football team that was not there the prior 11 weeks. And that's the biggest reason why I feel like he should be the starter for the rest of the season. It is clear that Shedeur Sanders is a better quarterback than Dylan Gabriel is. He damn sure better than Bailey Zappi. Bailey Zappi's on the roster as well because that's the thing. The Browns, they had Joe Flacco ahead of Shedeur Sanders. They had Dylan Gabriel ahead of Shedeur Sanders. Hell, they had Kenny Pickett also above Shedeur Sanders at one point on the depth chart. So head coach Kevin Stefanski, he never wanted to give Shedeur Sanders an opportunity to actually prove that he deserves to be the starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns. He was forced to have to give Shedeur Sanders an opportunity because Dylan Gabriel got concussed. And that's another thing that I want to talk about when it comes to Kevin Stefanski. And by the way, I love Shedeur Sanders' response pregame. He said before the game even started, Shedeur said, I am who they've been looking for. I love that. That's before the game even started. Shedeur Sanders is confident and he has a certain charisma about him that I love. He has poise. He is built to be an NFL starting caliber quarterback. But I was going to say, I love that Shedeur showed confidence. He said before the game, I am who they've been looking for. And after the game, Shedeur said, he said that was only 1 week of practice. Basically saying if I had an entire offseason and more time to develop with game plans being built around my skill set, I can be better than I actually am. I love the confidence that Shedeur Sanders displayed before and after the game. I love it. But what I did not love is y'all hear head coach Kevin Stefanski in the locker room after the game? This dude had the nerve, the audacity to talk in front of the football team, and he gives a just little small, barely energetic shout out to Shedeur Sanders. Like, oh, by the way, yeah, Shedeur, your first career start. Congratulations. And he just kept talking about all these other players, which I don't mind him giving the other players their credit. The Browns defense played sensational yesterday. I have no problem with Kevin Stefanski giving the Browns defense their flowers because that was a great performance. But that Browns defense has been elite all season long. They've been elite all season long. But before yesterday, the Browns were 2-8. They were 2-8 yesterday. Browns defense and the entire Browns football team, before yesterday, they were 2-8 on the season. So we've been new about how great the Browns defense is. And the thing is, Kevin Stefanski, to me, he has been very dismissive when it comes to Shedeur Sanders. Anytime someone brings up Shedeur Sanders, he's very dismissive, and he's not as committed to Shedeur Sanders as he was with Dylan Gabriel. That is a fact. Okay? That's a fact. I don't know what Stefanski has against Shedeur, but to me, Kevin Stefanski does not want Shedeur Sanders to succeed at the quarterback position in Cleveland. Because that shout out that he gave to Shedeur Sanders in the locker room after the game, to me, was terrible. It was terrible. And did y'all see the reaction that general manager Andrew Berry, he's the general manager for the Cleveland Browns, in the locker room, he went up to Shedeur and congratulated Shedeur for his performance. You would think that Kevin Stefanski would display the energy that Andrew Berry displayed. Andrew Berry had great energy for Shedeur Sanders, went up to him after the game and gave him his credit and congratulated him on winning his first career start in the NFL. But I got news for Kevin Stefanski. Stefanski, you've won 6 games in 2 years, bro. I respect Kevin Stefanski as an NFL head coach. Kevin Stefanski has won NFL Coach of the Year twice in his career. Kevin Stefanski knows the game of football, and he's forgotten more football than I'll ever know. But, Kevin, do you understand that in the last 2 years, you've won 6 games? Do you not understand that Shedeur can possibly save your job? Because the Cleveland Browns are going absolutely nowhere. They're not going to be a playoff team this year. They're going to finish 4th in the AFC North yet again. So you would think that Kevin Stefanski would be more appreciative and embrace Shedeur Sanders more than he has. And so to me, him being dismissive in the press conferences and then after the game in the locker room, damn, 6 in 2 years. Yeah, he done won 6 games in the last 2 years. Last season and this year, 6 games. And Kevin Stefanski got the nerve, the audacity to be trying to dismiss Shedeur Sanders' first career start and pretend like he doesn't actually need Shedeur Sanders to keep his job. Hey, Kevin, I would think that somebody in your circle, somebody in your family would give you advice. Hey, you might want to embrace this kid because this kid could help save your job. Yes, you are a 2-time NFL Coach of the Year. Yes, you are a good NFL head coach, but you still have lost a lot of games, and the Browns are not contenders in the AFC North and damn sure not contenders in the AFC. So you would think that Kevin Stefanski would actually embrace Shedeur Sanders. And to me, so far, since Shedeur Sanders has been drafted by the Cleveland Browns, since he's gotten drafted, Kevin Stefanski has not embraced Shedeur Sanders at all. At all. And to me, that's an issue. So I know Shedeur Sanders can be a competent starting quarterback in the NFL. I just don't know if it's going to be in Cleveland. Because as long as Kevin Stefanski is the head coach of the Cleveland Browns, I'm not so sure Shedeur Sanders is going to be put in positions to be successful and be able to develop as an NFL quarterback. Because that's what Shedeur needs. He needs game plans to be built around his skill set. He also needs to develop chemistry with the Browns receiving core, like Jerry Jeudy, like Isaiah Bond. Their tight end, Njoku. I like him as well. I think Njoku's been injured for the last few weeks. But he needs to develop chemistry with the other Browns players in their offense. And if he's not the starter and not getting first team reps, he's not going to be able to develop that chemistry with those other Browns players in that offense. So I know Shedeur Sanders can be a starting NFL quarterback. I do have questions about whether or not that's going to be in Cleveland. But nevertheless, I thought his first career start was a success. And again, statistically, his numbers were not great. But my eyes showed me watching that game, oh, Shedeur Sanders can definitely be a starting quarterback in the NFL. But he also is going to need a head coach who believes in him. And now that they're going to play the 49ers this week, I hope Shedeur has a great game because I believe Shedeur Sanders honestly he's earned an opportunity to be the starting quarterback for the rest of the season. But to me, when you get these young quarterbacks, I feel like you have to develop game plans around their strengths. Most young quarterbacks, really quarterbacks, period, the coach asks their quarterback, they say, hey, what plays do you like? Not sure if y'all, I'm pretty sure y'all guys know that. Head coaches, they ask their quarterbacks, hey, what plays do you like? And we are going to run those particular plays in games. And to me, I don't think that Shedeur Sanders has been given an opportunity to succeed at quarterback in Cleveland. Because I don't think Kevin Stefanski is putting Shedeur Sanders in positions to succeed. Like, you have to tailor your game plan around Shedeur Sanders' skill set and his strengths and the things that he likes. And the more reps that he gets in practice, the more he can develop chemistry in the passing game on timing routes with the receivers. And so I don't think that Shedeur Sanders has the right coach in place in order for him to be successful at the quarterback position in Cleveland, because I don't believe Kevin Stefanski truly likes Shedeur Sanders, to be honest. I don't. I don't think that Kevin Stefanski cares for Shedeur Sanders. Now, the thing is, we'll see what happens the rest of the season. Shedeur, I thought yesterday, he had moments where he played really, really well, and he had some down moments. The interception was a bad interception. It happens. He's a rookie. It's going to happen with rookie quarterbacks. Okay? I love the fact that Shedeur Sanders, he moved on from that play and he continued to play football. So I thought yesterday he showed flashes of really, really good pocket awareness. I thought he did a tremendous job going beyond the X's and O's. And I thought he did good in his first start. Like, if I had to say on a grading scale, A to a F, I would say that Shedeur was a C plus, B minus performance. And I think with more reps and more opportunities in practice and also developing chemistry with his receivers and also developing chemistry with the offensive line, I think Shedeur Sanders will get better as we get towards the end of the season. And I think if he actually gets a game plan built on his skill set, I think he will improve as the season goes along. But those are my thoughts on the Cleveland Browns and the Shedeur Sanders situation. It's just crazy, man. I think that when you think about the Cleveland Browns, I saw Myles Garrett. He was absolutely stunned when he saw what Shedeur Sanders was able to do. And I think that entire football team, they are rallying around Shedeur. It's almost as if yesterday they played for Shedeur. Like, they were happy for Shedeur to get his first start, and they rallied around Shedeur yesterday. That entire team, they played with more energy yesterday against the Raiders than I've seen them play with all season. Seriously. So I think Shedeur Sanders earned an opportunity to be the starter for the rest of the season. They already announced that he will start against the 49ers, but I don't give a damn. Whenever Dylan Gabriel comes out of concussion protocol, Shedeur Sanders should still remain the starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns. B minus, C minus, bench him. Bench him? What are you talking about? Bench him? Man, Rob, stop. You B C minus, bench him. Why would you bench Shedeur? You gave Dylan Gabriel an opportunity. You gave Dylan Gabriel an opportunity to succeed. What do you mean a C minus? Stop it. That was a B minus performance from Shedeur yesterday. Did he miss some throws? Absolutely. Was the interception bad? Absolutely. But there were moments where Shedeur Sanders made explosive plays. We're not going to sit up here and act like Shedeur Sanders had a bad performance yesterday. That was not a bad performance. And again, when I think about quarterbacks in the NFL, we've seen quarterbacks like Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, Daniel Jones get multiple opportunities to see if they can actually be franchise quarterbacks. So, damn it, Shedeur Sanders damn sure deserves an opportunity to see if he can be a franchise quarterback for the Cleveland Browns for the rest of the season. Daniel Jones, to me, has always been a below average quarterback. Sam Darnold, this season has played great. I thought last year Sam Darnold had a great season under Kevin O'Connell for the Minnesota Vikings. So Sam Darnold is starting to come out of that below average quarterback caliber for me. Like, I still think Daniel Jones is a below average quarterback. That's why I don't believe that the Indianapolis Colts are contenders in the AFC. Baker Mayfield, at one point in his career, Baker Mayfield was a journeyman. I thought Baker Mayfield had a great rookie season, but he was a journeyman. He played for the Carolina Panthers, the LA Rams, and he's found a home in Tampa Bay, and he is the franchise quarterback for the Buccaneers. But we've seen other quarterbacks have multiple opportunities to try and prove to see if they can be starting NFL quarterbacks. So you damn right. Shedeur deserves an opportunity to see whether or not he can be the franchise quarterback for the Cleveland Browns moving forward beyond this season. Another thing, too, I noticed yesterday, did y'all notice I ain't seen the Cleveland Browns be in the wildcat formation so much prior to week 12 yesterday. I mean, every possession, the Cleveland Browns went to wildcat, and they went to the wildcat formation in the red zone. Shedeur could have had 2 or 3 touchdown passes, but for whatever reason, Kevin Stefanski, multiple times in the red zone, he wanted to go to the wildcat formation. It was almost as if he didn't want Shedeur to have multiple touchdown passes. I ain't seen the Browns go into the wildcat formation all season long compared to what they did yesterday. Yesterday, there were countless times I'm thinking, why do they keep lining up in wildcat? What are they doing? Like, we ain't seen the Browns line up in wildcat formation all season long as compared to as many times they did it yesterday. But stop it, Rob. Bench him. That's absolutely insane. That's ridiculous. But give me your thoughts, man. Y'all can chime in on the comments. How did y'all feel about Shedeur Sanders' performance yesterday in his first career start? Again, the Browns beat the Raiders 24-10. Sanders went 11 for 20. He threw for 209 passing yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. I thought on a grading scale, A to F, I would have given Sanders a B-/C+ performance. But to say that he had a terrible performance and should get benched moving forward is absolutely ridiculous, man. That's nonsense. It's nonsense. But again, like I said, I think Kevin Stefanski, he doesn't like Shedeur. He's not a fan of Shedeur. And it's clear that he does not support Shedeur as his quarterback. He wanted Dylan Gabriel to be his quarterback. But they did announce that Shedeur will start against the 49ers in week 13. And I'm hoping Shedeur performs great in that game because then the doubters would have no choice but to shut up. All of you who doubt Shedeur, you would have no choice but to shut up because all I keep hearing is the Raiders. It's the Raiders. It's the Raiders. Okay. Don't let Shedeur Sanders go out there and ball against the 49ers next week. Y'all better hope that Shedeur, I'm talking to the doubters now. The doubters, y'all better hope and pray that Robert Saleh, he's the defensive coordinator for the San Francisco 49ers. Y'all better hope that Robert Saleh puts together a defensive game plan so they can limit Shedeur. Because if Shedeur Sanders goes out there next week in week 13 and balls out against the 49ers, I want to hear what these doubters have to say. Don't go missing in action when Shedeur balls out against a good NFL team. Because the Raiders are not a good NFL team. They are a bad football team. But when he has a great performance against a good football team, because the 49ers are a good football team and they are a playoff team in the NFC, I want to hear what you doubters have to say then. I want to hear it. I want to hear it. But, man, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with the Browns moving forward. Again, I think not only did the Browns offense look more explosive with Shedeur than it did with Dylan Gabriel and Joe Flacco, I thought the entire football team played with more energy and they played yesterday with a chip on their shoulders. Like they played for Shedeur yesterday. That's what I'm saying. They played for Shedeur. So I believe that Shedeur earned an opportunity to be the starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns for the rest of the season. Those are my thoughts on the Browns and Shedeur Sanders. Y'all enjoy y'all Monday night. Tonight, we got a matchup in the Bay, an NFC battle. Panthers, 49ers, ESPN, Monday Night Football. Bryce Young, Brock Purdy. I'm here for it. Going to be a great matchup in San Francisco tonight. I think the 49ers beat the Panthers 24-17. But I do think it's going to be a very, very competitive football game between two teams who are fighting for a playoff spot in the NFC. Those are my thoughts. Y'all, here's me signing off. Y'all enjoy y'all Monday evening.